The night Caleb Turner saw himself standing in the hallway was the night everything he believed about reality began to fall apart. It happened on a Monday. Caleb had just finished a double shift at the Denver airport, and all he wanted was to shower, eat something that wasn't from a vending machine, and collapse on the couch. His apartment sat on the third floor of a quiet Colorado building. No noise, no drama, just a long hallway lit by tired yellow bulbs. He walked inside at 11:32 p.m., kicked off his shoes, dropped his keys on the counter, and went straight to the bathroom. He splashed cold water on his face, breathing hard from exhaustion. That's when he heard footsteps. Not from above, not from the hallway, from inside his apartment. Slow, heavy, like someone trying not to be heard. He stood very still, water dripping from his chin. There shouldn't have been anyone there. He grabbed a kitchen knife, just instinct, and stepped toward the hallway. He peeked around the corner and froze. A man was standing at the far end of the hallway near the living room. Not a stranger, not an intruder. Him. Caleb felt the air leave his lungs. His fingers went numb around the knife. It wasn't a mirror trick, not a shadow, not a reflection. The figure was solid, breathing, shoulders rising slowly. He was wearing the same work jacket Caleb had taken off just minutes earlier. The same jeans, same boots, same tired posture, same face. Identical. His double was staring straight at him. And then it did something Caleb never forgot. It smiled. Not a big smile, not a friendly smile. A small, tight, wrong kind of smile. A smile that didn't belong on his own face. Caleb stepped back, heart hammering in his ears. The other him slowly raised one hand, as if pointing at him, and then stepped backward into the living room, without turning around, just gliding backward into the dark. Caleb stumbled toward the door, trying to dial 911, but his hands shook so badly the phone slipped. He bolted into the hallway and pounded on his neighbor's door. Police arrived within 10 minutes. They found nothing inside. Every window locked, every room empty. Nothing disturbed. But the officers noticed something odd. The hallway camera outside Caleb's apartment showed 2 recordings of him entering his apartment that night. One at 11:32 p.m. and another at 11:36 p.m. 4 minutes apart. Same man, same clothes, same walk. But the second version never left the apartment on camera. Caleb didn't sleep that night, or the next. Detective Mira Lawson took over the case. She didn't believe in supernatural stories. She believed in stalkers, imposters, psychotic breaks, things she could write in a report. She questioned Caleb for hours. "How sure are you it was you?" Caleb laughed bitterly. "You don't forget seeing your own face." Mira leaned back, studying him. "Maybe you blacked out. Maybe you re-entered your apartment at 11:36 and don't remember." "I didn't," Caleb insisted. "I was in my bathroom." "People dissociate." "No," he snapped. "It wasn't me." Mira didn't argue, but in her notes she wrote, "Possible hallucination due to exhaustion. Investigate sleep deprivation." But then the second event happened. 3 days later, Caleb woke up to the sound of breathing. Soft, slow, just outside his bedroom door. He sat up sharply. His bedroom door was slightly open, just an inch. He hadn't left it like that. He reached for his phone with shaking hands and texted Mira, "It's in the house again." He turned on the voice recorder app and whispered, "Who's there?" Silence. Then, a whisper. "Caleb." His own voice, not echoing, not distorted, exactly his voice, coming from the hallway. Caleb's skin crawled. He slowly pushed the door open and reached around the frame, turning on the hallway light. Empty, hellishly empty. He moved toward the living room, hand trembling, heart pounding so hard it hurt. Then he saw it again. Standing at the far end of the room, still, facing him, perfectly identical. Caleb dropped his phone. The double tilted its head slightly, too much, too far, like a puppet on a broken string. Then it stepped forward. One slow step, then another. Caleb ran for the door, yanking it open and slamming into the hallway so hard he nearly slipped. His neighbor opened her door, startled. "Caleb, what happened?" He gasped. "It's inside. Call Detective Lawson. Call anyone. Something's inside my house." When police arrived, the apartment was empty, but the officers found something chilling. Caleb's bedroom door had scratch marks on the inside, as if something had been trying to close it from within the room. Detective Lawson's skepticism began to crack. She pulled every building camera from the night of the second incident. At 3:14 a.m., the hallway camera outside Caleb's door recorded something impossible. Caleb's bedroom light turning on, his living room shadow moving, his silhouette walking past the window. Except Caleb was outside the apartment the entire time. He was on body cam footage with the responding officers, but something that looked exactly like him moved inside the apartment. Lawson requested a forensic tech team. They dusted the apartment for fingerprints. They found double sets of fingerprints belonging to Caleb, one set older, one set fresher. And the fresher ones were in places Caleb swore he never touched. Behind the couch, inside the closet, on the ceiling vent, on the inside of his bedroom door. Lawson wrote in her report, "Unknown individual exhibiting identical biometric markers to subject." Privately, though, she admitted to her partner, "I don't think this is a person." The worst event happened a week later. Caleb tried to stay with his sister 2 towns over, hoping distance would put an end to it. It didn't. On his second night there, around 2:59 a.m., he woke up to the feeling of someone standing at the foot of the guest bed. He slowly lifted his head. His sister was asleep on the couch downstairs. There should be no one else in the room. Yet. In the faint glow of the hallway nightlight, Caleb saw a shape, the outline of a person, his own silhouette, just standing there, not moving, not breathing, not blinking, just watching him. Caleb whispered, "What do you want from me?" The figure leaned closer and whispered in his voice, "You." Caleb leaped out of bed and turned on the lights. The figure was gone. He broke down and sobbed for the first time since it all began. He called Lawson at 3:07 a.m. She arrived by 4. Caleb barely explained anything before she stopped him and said something he never expected. "Caleb, I think I saw it too." Lawson confessed that after reviewing the video evidence that day, something had happened. She'd been walking toward the precinct garage when she saw someone standing behind her car. At first, she thought it was Caleb waiting for her. Same jacket, same height. But when she called out his name, the figure turned its head toward her, and she realized it was herself. Same face, same hair, same clothes, but smiling. The smile widened slowly, too wide. And then the figure walked behind the garage wall, but didn't reappear on the other side. Lawson had lied about seeing nothing, because seeing herself terrified her more than anything she'd seen in 11 years on the force. She whispered to Caleb, "Whatever this thing is, it's not just after you." The investigation intensified. Paranormal experts denied involvement. Psychologists claimed mass hysteria. But biometric testing confirmed something insane. The fingerprints lifted from Caleb's apartment were his, but they did not match his sweat composition or heat signature. Meaning, whatever left those prints looked like him, but wasn't alive the way humans were. Infrared scans inside his apartment detected a heat shadow moving seconds after Caleb fled the building, like something cold following the warmth he left behind. The department requested Caleb stay in protective custody. He agreed. It didn't matter, because 2 nights later, security cameras in the holding facility captured something that ended the investigation for good. At 3:11 a.m., someone walked up to Caleb's holding cell door. A man. Same height, same build, same hair, same clothes Caleb wore the day he vanished. He looked straight into the camera and smiled. That too wide, too wrong smile. The night Laura Whitman came home and saw herself standing in her own kitchen was the night her entire life began to unravel. Laura worked the evening shift at a small accounting office in Columbus, Ohio. She usually returned home around 9 or 10 p.m., dropped her bag on the counter, microwaved leftovers, watched an episode of whatever she wasn't too tired for, and went to bed. She lived alone. Well, alone with her security camera system. 3 cameras, one on the porch, one facing the hallway, and one facing the kitchen. She installed them after a break-in scare the previous year. For almost 6 months, things were normal, until Friday, June 4th. The day her husband, who'd passed away 2 years earlier, would have turned 40. She always felt uneasy on that date, but nothing could have prepared her for what was waiting at home. She walked in the door at 9:58 p.m. Her porch camera later showed her walking up the steps, unlocking the door, entering normally. The hallway camera, however, showed something else. At 9:43 p.m., 15 minutes before she arrived, the hallway camera recorded someone entering the house. A woman. Same height, same shoulder-length brown hair, same blue jacket Laura wore that night. Except Laura wasn't home yet. The figure walked calmly down the hallway into the kitchen. No sound, no hesitation, just confidence, as if she belonged there. When Laura walked in at 9:58, she didn't see anything strange at first. She kicked off her shoes, dropped her purse on the table. Then she stepped into the kitchen and froze. Someone was standing in front of the open refrigerator, back turned, leaning slightly inside, as if looking for something to eat. "Hello?" Laura blurted out. The woman straightened, slowly, too slowly, and turned her head, but not her body. Her head rotated just enough for Laura to see her left cheek, her jawline, her profile, her own face. Laura felt the blood drain from her entire body. She couldn't scream, couldn't move. The woman, if it was a woman, closed the refrigerator door and faced her fully. Same face, same eyes, same birthmark under the jaw. But the smile was wrong. Too wide, too relaxed, like someone practicing how humans smile. Laura stumbled backward, grabbing the counter for support. Who are you?" she whispered. Her double didn't answer. Instead, it tilted its head, studying her with fascination, like a child examining an insect pinned to cardboard. Then it stepped forward. One step, then another. Slow, deliberate. Laura ran. She didn't think about grabbing keys or her phone. She didn't think about the back door. She just ran out the front door barefoot and sprinted to her neighbor's house, pounding on the door until someone answered. Police search squads arrived within minutes. They searched every room, every closet, every corner. They found nothing. But the kitchen? It was ice cold, colder than the rest of the house by 15 degrees. The fridge wasn't open. The AC wasn't on. Just cold. Too cold. Officer Jameson, the first on scene, asked, "Did you leave the fridge open before you left?" Laura shook her head. No, I didn't. And even if I did, the woman wasn't me." The officers exchanged looks that said they didn't believe a word. But then Laura said something that changed their expressions. "Check the cameras." Jameson pulled out his tablet and connected to her system. When he scrubbed through the footage, his face changed instantly. "There's someone on here," he whispered. The footage was undeniable. 9:43 p.m., the front door opened. No forced entry sound, no struggle. Just a woman entering with a key. A woman who looked exactly like Laura. The facial recognition software, the same system Laura used for home notifications, tagged the woman as Laura. Same gait, same arm angle, same nervous habit of tucking hair behind the ear when walking through the hallway. It was perfect imitation. Almost too perfect. Jameson grimaced. Someone was either stalking her with access to advanced face mask tech, or something else was happening. When detectives arrived, they questioned Laura for hours. Has anyone ever copied your key? Do you have a twin? Has anyone hacked your cameras? Are you on any medication? Were you under the influence? Any history of dissociation? Laura answered no to everything. Detective Rachel Sinclair stepped aside after the interview and told her partner, she really believes she saw herself. Her partner whispered, the scary part? The footage says the same thing. Laura didn't return home that night. The next morning, she went back with Sinclair and 2 officers. On the kitchen counter, they found something new, a cup of coffee, still warm. Someone had been in the house recently. Sinclair's stomach turned. Don't touch that. They dusted it for prints. The results came back 2 hours later. Fingerprints belonged to Laura Whitman, exactly identical. But the forensic tech noticed something strange. Her fingerprints are here twice, he said, confused. Same pattern, same ridge formation, but different sweat composition. Different how? Sinclair asked. Different enough to belong to 2 different bodies. That night, Laura stayed with her sister. Detectives installed 2 cameras inside the empty house to monitor activity. At 3:11 a.m., both cameras triggered motion alerts. Sinclair reviewed the feed with horror. The kitchen camera showed Laura, perfectly identical, standing at the counter, drinking coffee. Except Laura was asleep across town. The doppelganger placed the mug gently down and turned to the first camera. And then, for the first time, it smiled directly into the lens. Not a human smile. Wide, stretched, unblinking. A smile too big for the face. The hallway camera picked it up walking toward the front door. And then, the figure reached up and waved. Exactly the way Laura waved goodbye to her husband when he left for work years ago. Same angle, same movement. Then it walked out of frame. When officers rushed in minutes later, the house was empty again. But every window was open, and the mug was gone. Laura demanded to see the footage. Sinclair hesitated, but she had to show her. When Laura saw her double smiling into the camera, she burst into tears. "That's not me," she sobbed. "That's not me." Sinclair placed a hand on her shoulder. "I believe you." And she did. Because later that night, something happened that made the detective nearly pass out in fear. While reviewing the hallway footage again, Sinclair froze on one frame. The doppelganger walked past the mirror near the kitchen. Its reflection wasn't the same as its body. The reflection lagged, delayed, late by half a second, like an old video buffering. Sinclair whispered, "What the hell are you?" 1 week later, Laura decided she wanted her things back from the house. The detectives insisted on escorting her. Sinclair, 2 officers, and Laura entered the apartment cautiously. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. Then Laura gasped. On the living room wall, someone had drawn something using charcoal. A drawing of Laura, but not a portrait. A diagram. The shape of her body. Arrows pointing to her joints, her heart, her jaw, her eyes. And next to the drawing, "I learned you." Laura collapsed into a chair. Sinclair stared at the wall, horrified. This thing wasn't just copying her. It was studying her, perfecting her, replacing her. Sinclair whispered, "It's practicing." The final incident happened 3 nights later. Laura was staying at her sister's. At 3:02 a.m., the sister woke up to someone moving in the kitchen. She thought it was Laura getting water. She walked in and said, "Laura, you okay?" The woman at the counter turned around slowly and smiled. Too wide. Too wrong. Laura's sister screamed and ran upstairs. Laura rushed down, but the thing was gone. Police arrived and searched the house. Nothing. But outside in the yard, they found footprints. Bare footprints. The night Ethan Keller answered the knock at his front door was the last normal moment of his life. It happened on a cold Thursday in Ashland, Oregon, the kind of night where fog settles thick over the streets and porch lights glow like dying embers. Ethan lived alone on Maple Ridge Road, a quiet suburban street famous for three things: old trees, friendly neighbors, and absolutely nothing interesting ever happening. Until the night he opened the door and found himself standing there. But that was not the beginning of the story. Not exactly. The beginning was much quieter. A single knock at 10:42 p.m. Ethan was sitting on the couch, half asleep, watching some documentary he couldn't remember 5 minutes later. He muted the TV, confused. He almost never got visitors. He walked to the door and looked through the peephole. No one. Just the streetlight flickering across the fog. He shrugged and went back to the couch. 2 minutes later, knock, knock, knock. A little louder this time. He checked the peephole again. Still no one. He opened the door. Empty porch, silent street, but something felt off. The air was too still, too cold. He went back inside, made sure the door was locked, and tried to shake off the unease. At 11:18 p.m., his phone buzzed. A notification from his doorbell camera. Person detected, front porch. He opened the app and froze. The still image showed a man standing on his porch, facing the door, wearing Ethan's jacket, Ethan's jeans, Ethan's sneakers. The face wasn't visible. The figure was looking down at the doormat. Ethan replayed the 10-second clip. The man lifted his head, and for a single frame, one clear frame, Ethan saw his own face staring back at the camera. He jumped to his feet, heart pounding. He checked the porch again. Empty. He dialed 911 with shaking fingers. When officers arrived, they found no footprints, no signs of forced entry, nothing at all. Officer Ruiz pulled up the footage and rewound it slowly. The frame where the face was visible glitched. A distortion, a smear, like a face stretched through water. Probably a tech glitch, Ruiz said with a shrug. Ethan didn't believe that. He deleted nothing. For the next 4 nights, the knocking continued. Always between 10:30 p.m. and midnight. Always 3 knocks, always calm. On the 5th night, Ethan decided to stay right by the door, phone recording, lights off. At 11:06 p.m., the knocks came again. He lifted his phone. Trembling, he whispered, "Who's there?" A voice answered. His voice. "Let me in." Ethan stumbled backwards so fast he nearly tripped over his coffee table. The voice wasn't muffled like someone speaking through a door. It was clear, as if the speaker were inches from his ear. He didn't open the door that night. He hardly opened his eyes at all. He sat in the dark until sunrise, staring at the door, waiting for another knock. But the knocking stopped. For a while. 2 days later, his neighbor Dana Collins came knocking in broad daylight, frantic. "You came to my house yesterday," she said breathlessly. Ethan blinked. "No, I didn't." "You did," she insisted. "You knocked on my door at 9 p.m. You asked if I had seen your cat. You don't even have a cat, Ethan." "I wasn't here," he said, confused. "I was at work until 10. She shook her head. "No, I saw you. You were wearing that gray jacket." The same jacket from the camera footage. The same jacket hanging in his closet. Ethan felt something cold spool through his chest. Because this time, the thing wearing his face wasn't at his house. It was going door to door, talking, moving, acting, like him. But it wasn't him. He called Detective Ruiz again. Ruiz reviewed the neighbor's door camera, and there it was. A man knocking. A man with Ethan's posture, Ethan's jacket, Ethan's voice saying, "Have you seen my cat?" Ruiz paused.
"You sure you weren't here?" "I was at work," Ethan snapped. He pulled up his work log. Badged in at 4:03 p.m., badged out at 10:01 p.m. Impossible. Ruiz watched the footage again, then said something that chilled Ethan more than anything else. "This doesn't look like you." "How can it not look like me?" Ethan yelled. Ruiz pointed at the screen. "It moves like you, sounds like you, looks like you, but the eyes, they're wrong." Ethan leaned in. Ruiz was right. The eyes weren't focused on Dana at all. They were slightly off, looking past her, as if searching for something else, searching for him. That night, Ethan stayed at a hotel. Ruiz arranged extra patrols around his street. At 2:19 a.m., the hotel hallway camera picked up movement outside Ethan's room. A man standing perfectly still in front of his door. Ethan's height, Ethan's build, Ethan's shoes. The man never knocked, never moved, just stood there for 7 full minutes, then slowly bent down and placed something under Ethan's door. A note. When the clerk brought it to the terrified Ethan, he didn't want to touch it. Ruiz came to the hotel, put on gloves, and opened the pale, folded paper. Inside were 5 words written in shaky handwriting. "Stop hiding. Come home." Ruiz looked at Ethan. "Is this your handwriting?" "No," Ethan whispered. But it looked like his handwriting. Every loop, every curve, exactly like his. The detective swallowed hard. This is escalating. The next night, Ruiz set up a sting operation. 2 unmarked cars, 3 officers, cameras positioned around Ethan's house. At 10:40 p.m., Ethan's porch camera activated. The figure was back. Only this time, he wasn't facing the door. He was facing the camera directly, smiling. Then he raised a finger to his lips, a perfect imitation of Ethan's thinking gesture, and the feed cut out. All 4 cameras went black at the same time, every last one. When the officers rushed the porch, the figure was gone, but something had been left behind. Another note. This one read, "Tomorrow, I come inside." Ruiz turned to Ethan. "We have to move you, tonight." They relocated him to a secure house used for witness protection. Steel doors, double locks, bulletproof glass. Nothing could get in. Or so they thought. At 3:03 a.m., Ethan woke to a knock. Not on the door, on the window. 3 soft taps. He sat up, heart hammering. A shadow moved across the curtains. He grabbed the phone and whispered, "Ruiz, he's here." Ruiz and 2 officers arrived within 6 minutes, but the house was silent. Ethan insisted someone had tapped the window. Ruiz looked outside. There were footprints in the garden dirt. Bare footprints, identical size to Ethan's, identical pressure patterns, but strange, wrong. No heel impact, no toe curvature. Like something was imitating how humans walk, but didn't fully understand it. Later that morning, Ethan broke down. "What does it want?" he cried. "Why me?" Ruiz didn't know, but the answer came sooner than anyone expected. The following night, Ethan's phone rang. Unregistered number. He almost didn't answer, but he did, and heard his own voice whisper, "I'm tired of being outside." Ethan's stomach twisted. "Who are you?" His voice replied, "I'm you." "No, you're not." A soft chuckle. Too soft. "I'm the part of you that doesn't belong here." Ethan's throat went dry. "What do you want?" The voice whispered, "Your spot." Then the line went dead.
Ruiz ordered 24-hour guard rotation. Officers patrolled the safe house in shifts. At 4:12 a.m., Officer Martinez radioed in. "Subject on west side of house. Looks like Keller?" But Ruiz had Ethan beside him. "As in Ethan Keller?" Ruiz asked. "Yes, he's looking right at me." "Don't approach," Ruiz shouted. But the double was already walking toward Martinez. He moved strangely, smooth, gliding, almost too balanced. Martinez stumbled back, gun drawn. "Halt! Hands where I can see!" The figure dissolved into the darkness. Not ran, not ducked, just stepped backward and vanished behind the house. When they searched the yard, there was nothing, except a single footprint. Ethan's footprint, pressed perfectly into the grass. The final incident happened 2 days later. At 11:58 p.m., the safe house motion sensor triggered. Ethan screamed. Ruiz and 2 officers burst into the bedroom. Ethan was standing against the wall, shaking violently, and across from him, another Ethan. Identical, expressionless, silent. The 2 were facing each other, inches apart, both breathing, both trembling. Ruiz shouted, "Get down! Don't move!" Both Ethans dropped to their knees at the same time, perfectly synchronized, like mirrors. One whispered, "I'm the real one." The other whispered, "No, I am." Ruiz didn't know what to do. Then the lights flickered. The double turned slowly toward Ruiz and smiled. That horrible, human but not human smile. Then it whispered, "Too late." The lights went out completely. Ethan screamed. Officers fired. The lights came back on. The double was gone. Ethan Keller was gone. Vanished, without a trace. All that remained was a single note on the floor. "I'm home." The case is still unsolved. Detective Ruiz left the force 6 months later. And some nights, when the street is quiet and the fog hangs thick, neighbors on Maple Ridge Road swear they sometimes see Ethan standing on his own porch, knocking, waiting, smiling.